So what we have today is, you're probably gonna guess it, we have another 6.7 Ram, 2015. We're getting a ton of turbocharger actuator codes again. This is a different truck. I have another one too that's gonna be coming in a few more days. Now there is a warranty extension. This customer has an aftermarket warranty, so he's gonna use that because he doesn't want to deal with the local Dodge dealer because they're a pain in the butt. But the warranty extension does state that pretty much all these codes, it says to just replace the actuator, but that's not the way I really like to do it. So what we're gonna do today, I have my scope hooked up. We're gonna check V, make sure we have a good power, a good ground, and make sure we have good communication circuits to the actual turbocharger actuator. So I know my ground, I usually like it hooked to the battery. If I get a off reading, then we'll hook it up to the battery. Just a little bit of a pain. So let me go turn the key on. I've already got it all set up. We're gonna see what it reads. So it's gonna be really hard to see because of the glare outside. You can see the yellow is one of the comm lines. It's either high or low, I'm not too sure. And then the red one is the same. It's gonna be, this might be better. So the red is a comm and the yellow is a comm. The blue is our ground and the green is our power. The green is actually, it's off the scale. It's all the way on the top. So what I'm gonna do right now, we're gonna make sure, you can see right there the communication line, they're both active. One of them is really active, the other one just coming in and out, which is fine. The next thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna make sure that we have a good power and ground down here, and we'll go from there. Okay, so here I have my test light. We're hooked to battery ground. So we're gonna go ahead and check right here and just make sure. And this is a bulbed test light, it's not a LED. So we wanna actually do a circuit test on it, make sure it can hold some load. And then I'm gonna go up here, we're gonna flip it. We're gonna hook it to the hot, try to get a decent bite. We're gonna come down here, and I believe this one is the ground. Yep, so we have a good ground too, it lights up, nice and good. See, so, and I also did move the ground for my scope to the battery, just to make sure that we're good. So as you can tell, I know it's really hard to see, you can see the red and the yellow. The yellow is really active, the red's starting to talk still. So with the communication lines looking good, the power and ground looking good, the next step is we're gonna have to remove the actuator and make sure the turbocharger is not seized up on the vane side of things. So I'm gonna see if I can get the authorization for that, and then we'll go from there. So we're back on this 2015 Ram with the turbocharger actuator. We did inform the customer about the warranty extension, and he has an aftermarket warranty, so he's gonna pursue that instead of going to the dealer. So our next step is we're gonna remove this actuator, and we're going to make sure that the turbocharger itself is okay for the vanes inside of it, and that they actually move properly. Hopefully you can kind of see, I'm hoping it's not too bad. So the first thing, you have to drain the coolant when you pull these actuators off. If you do not drain the coolant, you will destroy this actuator. Electronically, it'll get coolant inside the motor, and you plug it in the truck, it'll blow the fuse. So been there, done that. That was the first time I've ever done it. I learned my lesson. So don't ever do that. Make sure you drain all the coolant out. You just let it drip for, I let it drain for like 30 minutes, and it's all going. So next we're gonna pull the connector off, and we're gonna pull the actuator off and go from there. So let's pop this lock off. Hopefully you can kind of see. And another thing that I've always noticed on these two, the actuators generally seem to go bad when they get that kind of crust. See all that pink crust buildup right there? So you can see light. Usually what I notice is that the coolant gets past that seal and it starts to get into the motor and destroys the motor. So there could be coolant in there too. We're just gonna go ahead and pop this. You pop that back. Hopefully you can stop. You just push this gray tab back. I usually take my pocket screwdriver, just pry on the tab. And it should just pop right off. Should is the key word. It's got a lot of dirt in it. There it goes. So, just like that, so you don't break it. You don't want to break it. Okay, so we got that off. Our next step is, I'm gonna see if I can get you in here. It's kind of difficult. It's a really tight spot, so right here we have a 10. See this one right here? I'm gonna try to do it one-handed. I just don't want to smack my wrist. So let me see if I can put you on the spring real quick. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and, I know I'm kind of doing a little backward. It's hard to do it one-handed without. And I dropped that, of course. Of course it did. So we'll grab that later. It's not a big deal. That popped off, of course. Okay, so we're good with that. Next, with something like this, it would be best to use something like this. So here's a 5mm Allen. And I dropped that too. I need to mount the camera, give me 1 second. So I apologize about the viewing angle, but that's the only place I can get it where I can do this successfully without dropping everything. So we're gonna try to break these free with that. So again, there's 5mm Allen head bolts. There's 4 of them, and you want to make sure you use a really good Allen bit because you do not want to strip them. I've had one technician one time strip the one in the bottom corner under the shock, and it was horrible trying to get it out. So just be careful. Make sure your Allen, like you see me wiggling, make sure it's all the way engaged. Gosh, those are really tight. Okay, we'll get this one out. I think they're so tight because of the coolant. Coolant that's leaking. So here's my Allen head. We're gonna use this. Loosen it. Loosen this one first. I'm gonna attempt to at least. We'll give it a nice wiggle. Oh my goodness. That one's extremely tight. Let's see if I can get this one. We grab a different Allen. So I just wanted to finish this off. I had a hell of a time trying to get the 2 bottom bolts out. Finally got them out. And like I said before, this, you want to make sure this turns. You can see the line right here. You want to make sure it goes there. You see how easy it is? It goes all the way to line to line. And it, see how easy? It's not very difficult to turn. That's perfectly fine. The bolts that you're gonna have to take out. So this is the actuator right here. This is the one that came out of the truck. If I can get this straight. So you have these 2 right here, they're long, and you have the 2 shorts. You want to make sure, be very careful on the bottom ones. You don't want to strip them. But as you can see on this one's been leaking for so long, it actually rusted the bolts into the turbocharger. Extremely difficult to get out. This is one of the most difficult ones I've ever had to do. So be very, very careful. It was not fun. But you just want to make sure that this does, you get those 4 bolts out, make sure this moves all the way to the line, see that line? And then that one right there, make sure it moves line to line, and you're good to go. Before you put it back together though, you want to clean this. You don't want to leave this, because there's a lip on it, you don't want this leaking anymore. And then we got a nice little exhaust leak up there. That's cool. Typical Dodge. But yeah. So we're going to go ahead and recommend an actuator. This is an insurance job, so it's going to be a while. So I probably won't have an update for it for quite a while, but we'll go ahead and get it done and make sure it's good. So this is the one with the rusty crusty actuator. I had a very difficult time getting the bolts out. I was finally able to get them out. So now we're going to go ahead and reinstall the new actuator. So the first step we're going to do, we're going to put the pin in. That comes in the kit. Make sure it lines up. Okay, so we finally got it apart. You're going to get a pin in the kit with the actuator. Should at least. Make sure it goes in there nice and smooth in that hole. That's done. The actuator is already plugged in. We do have to grease this one, so let me get the tube of grease and we'll grease it up. Okay, the kits that we get, they come with these little tubes of grease. They're pre-measured, so you don't over grease. Just gonna drop it all on the gear right there. Majority of it at least. Okay, that's taken care of now. Now we're gonna move over to the scan tool. We're gonna do the VGT actuator. Turbocharger must be removed. Make sure it's removed. Okay, now we can install it on the turbocharger. So, with that being the case, let's go up here. So the trick is you're supposed to use the alignment pins like I said last time. I do not. They're kind of a pain in the butt. I stick it on straight. So just want to make sure you go right on straight. Like that. Okay, now we're gonna put a bolt on the top. See what I made a mistake of too. I didn't put the bolts on the bottom. Okay, so I made a mistake. I forgot to put the bolts in the bottom, so we're gonna pull it back off. It's still calibrated. Now I did put a little grease on these because these were rusted, so just to keep it nice and smooth in the housing. Let's make sure that is still lined up, so we're good to go. I forgot to put those bolts in.
Okay, can you take these back in?
Okay. Actuator's on. We're gonna put the bolts on the top. Let's get this one. Let's get them all started. Hey, could you hook the AC machine up to this Jeep, Ricardo? Okay, let me. Just don't want it moving too much. Snugging them down. We're not going for gold. There's an ambulance. Perfect timing. We should be perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten these. We're gonna check it just to make sure. But yep.
Yeah, probably easier.
Okay.
You recommended high pressure fuel tanker.
Mm-hmm.
But I found one online, $33.
Okay.
You wash it, bought it, put it in the market.
Mm-hmm.
But you can check it.
Okay. Yeah, you can ask Ricardo. It's gonna be disastrous. Okay. So now we're back at this. Now it's gonna run the test. So it's complete. Okay, we're done with that. We're gonna go back. We're gonna clear all the codes because it's got a laundry list of codes. So let's make sure there's no codes. Knox exceeded. That's okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and fire it up. Just gonna rev it up. I'm gonna fire it up, rev it up for a second, just to make sure it's good. Okay, it runs. Seems to rev up okay. We're just checking for codes. Knock 6 that's okay. Once we go drive it, I go check it away. A $30 fuel rail pressure sensor for a common rail Cummins. A Bosch. When that blows it up, and it blows the fuel system apart because it's not reading the pressure right, that'll be rough. But, you know, it is what it is. Okay, so we're all tight. I still need to do this. This is all locked up, so I'm gonna go ahead and have someone else put it back together and button it up.